It's gonna be a cold one today. That's for sure. But we'll see how it goes. This will be the coldest time it's been since we've been here. Alright, let's go ahead and we're going to do a test fit of our new teak panel we made that replaced the ones that were up here, the one that was all rotted from the numerous window leaks and junk. So let's see how this new one fits up in here. Okay. For a second there, I was like, what? Because I made it. I made it an exact match. Whoa. That's kind of wild. We don't want to be doing that. Okay. Well, it looks like a good fit. Let's take a look at that. Sorry about the lighting. I don't have a real good lighting setup in here yet, but so you can see. That looks really, really nice compared to the old one. Right? Sorry about the glare. Like I said, we're low budget here, and the lighting, I don't have a very good lighting system, so anyways, but you can tell that's looking good. So, and it's a good fit. It's exactly the one, same as what came out of there. So yeah, that looks pretty nice. And then we have this one to replace next. All rotted and everything, so. All right, well, there we go. We're happy with that. Definitely happy. Happy with how that fits. And I really like the color of it too. That looks really nice. The difference. This is new, that's old. I really like the color of the new one better. So this here is nice. All right, cool. Well, it's definitely a good fit, and when it's all installed, that's going to be another thing of beauty. So that's what we want to do here. Just keep on making a thing of beauty. So right on. Well, there you go. Welcome back to another Exciting and thrill-filled adventure with DIY Nautical Dream. Okay, maybe that was a little over the top. Anyways, we'll go ahead and get our next video started.
Hi guys!
Hi guys, welcome back.
Welcome back again. Anyways, I'm Priscilla.
And I'm Rich.
So this week's episode, we are finding more rotted plywood
Yeah.
and Galley overhead.
Yeah.
This project is getting deeper and deeper. So we're just looking forward to an end, right?
Yeah, we're grasping for the end of the rotted plywood trail. We don't know where it ends at yet.
Yep, but at the end of the day, we're still having some hope that it's gonna end eventually.
Okay.
You're just gonna cut that one.
Yeah.
Okay. And at the same time, we are fiberglassing, right?
Yep, we are actually putting in some new pieces along the way and closing up some of the openings that we cut out. The old rotted plywood are actually gonna, this week's episode, we're gonna fiberglass in some new sections, and so that's a little bit of on the positive side.
And cutting more plywood to Galley overhead.
Yep, we're gonna cut out some more replacement pieces. We use the old rotted pieces as a template. We overlay that, trace out our outline, and then we use the router to final cut it so we get almost an exact fit, and it fits right in. So it really works out well, but we're going to make more of those new pieces of plywood and continue to epoxy coat them, and we seal them so that no moisture can get in there. So, but yeah, that's what we're working on this week. We got a lot of work ahead of us. Hopefully we're not overly optimistic, and hopefully we can get all this stuff done. So that's what we're working on.
Yep, so lots of cutting, lots of glorious sanding.
Oh yeah. We're making a mess. That's all I can say is we're making a huge mess. So.
Right. Anyways, before we forget, thanks for our patrons again who let us borrow.
Yes, thank you, Brandon, so much. We really appreciate it.
He's so letting us try the microphone.
Yep.
See if it works.
Yeah, so if you like the way we sound, I think you're gonna like this sound quality better than we were using before.
And this is gonna be the way we're gonna go to.
Yep. So we're gonna go ahead and get this and order it, and we'll have our own eventually. But thanks, Brandon, for letting us borrow it. And we did purchase a new camera with a little bit of a lighting setup on it, so we're slowly evolving into a little bit better video quality, we hope. So, anyways, let's get going. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's get on it.
Okay, we'll see you in a little bit. We're going to get going to work right now, and so we'll see you in a little while.
Talking.
Yep. You quit talking. All right.
Bye.
Bye. See ya. Okay, so we showed these pieces of rotted plywood from last week's video. These are the ones we removed from the aft portion of the galley overhead section. And it really just didn't make sense to me that these are in 4 to 5 different pieces when really we could just make these all into one piece. So we customized it a little bit, and we cut it out and we made it into one full piece instead of multiple smaller pieces. It just looks like scrap wood going up there, and it doesn't make any sense. I realize it's not even any structural significance, but basically just the vinyl is going to adhere to it, attach to it, and that's about it. But anyways, we want it to be good. So we made it all into one piece, and we're going to go ahead and try and fit this on and see how it goes. Okay, so here's the piece that's combined all the multiple pieces and made them all into one. And we're doing a fit check, and already you can see this is a lot more organized looking and a lot more professional looking, I guess, if you want to say that. But I know this is never going to be seen once the vinyls close back up, but really it just takes a little bit more effort to make it, a little bit more organized looking. And I think this is going to be better. If there is any strength needed overall, this is probably going to be stronger than those individual pieces all screwed together. So either way, this is the route we went, and we feel like it's the best way to go. And so we're going to try to do this whenever we encounter multiple pieces like this in the future. Where it's possible, where it makes sense, we're going to do that. And hopefully it just saves a little bit more time down the road. So here's another section of the galley overhead where we have more of those individual panels of plywood. And like I said before, we don't like those individual like that. It just doesn't make sense. So we're going to try and do the same thing here if it'll work. We're going to try and combine these all into one. And if not, then we'll combine them into like
maybe 2 main pieces instead of multiple pieces. Either way, we're going to try and make it better than what it was. And when the new pieces go up, they're going to be coated with penetrating epoxy on all side edges and top and bottom, so that moisture is not going to get in there and do what's happened to these pieces here. So we're slowly dropping the vinyl from the outside edge now, and we're working our way forward from the aft portion of the galley going forward. And as we're starting to drop the vinyl, it's exposing more and more rotted pieces of plywood. And these pieces of plywood are like really rotted. I mean, they're just barely holding themselves together. I think the screws are the only thing holding them in place, which is just preventing them from just falling apart into several different layers of delaminated plywood. But we're going to try and get these off into one piece because we want to use them for templates later on down the road. And so it's going to be a little delicate maneuvering, but that's what we want to try and do, save these.
Man, look at that. Just, it's totally rotted in there. Just had moisture and water dripping on it from leaks for a very long time. And to start off with, this was never protected. It was never epoxy coated, never had any fiberglass resin on it or anything. So yeah, we're gonna be able to make some improvements there, that's for sure. It'll not take a lot of work to make that better. But yeah, you can just see where the water's been running down here and here, just over and over again. So we'll be able to make it better. But yeah, we're gonna cut from here, and eventually all of this is going to be replaced all the way back to where I built the new piece right here. That's pretty nice and solid, but still, even I'm going to pull this off, and I'm going to cut the old wood that's underneath here. I'm going to cut that too and put new wood in there. And then this here, another, gee, I mean, it's totally not supported here. It doesn't get supported until like right here. So we're gonna fix that. I'm gonna take some measurements. I'm gonna try and make this into I don't know, something a lot nicer. Even though nobody will ever see it, it's just gonna be nice to know that there's extra support up here so that none of this is gonna be trying to sag down or anything. So anyways, I'll continue on. But and then from here forward, it's all new, rock solid, all epoxy coated and everything. So, and then we even sprayed insulation up in there so the condensation stops. We don't have any more condensation happening up in there, so that's a good thing.
Here's a little picture of some of that spray foam insulation, expanding insulation that we put up in that galley overhead cavity. Believe it or not, it actually really worked. It looks like garbage, but I'll tell you what, it actually has stopped the condensation. It no longer is forming on any of those surfaces in there, and so it works. Might not be the best way to go. I think we could have thought of something different, but since we're already committed to that, that's the way we're going to do it from now on. But in this section only, we might try something different down the road somewhere else, but we have lots of opportunities to fight condensation on this boat, so this is not the end of it. All right, so here you go. Take a look at this. More delaminating plywood, and this is what we're seeing when we're peeling back the vinyl over here on the far outside section of the galley. It's just like, wow, I had no idea it was that badly rotted and decaying and, you know, falling apart and flaking away from itself. We got to try and save this, and so we're going to end up taping it together the best we can. We'll pull off the loose stuff, and then the rest of it we're going to try and tape together to save its integrity, at least long enough that we can take a pattern off of it to make the new piece. And but yeah, so this is a good thing that we're getting in here. Had no idea when we were looking at the boat with the surveyor, or had no idea when we were considering buying it, that this was going on in here. And so this is a big surprise in the wrong direction, but it'll be like brand new in this area when we're done. So I got this piece off, and I'm telling you what, man, I had to tape it just to get it to hold together, because it's about ready to fall to pieces, fall into like pieces like Like this stuff here just keeps chunks of wood fall out of there. And look how wet it is on the backside. That's just wet. And back there it's wet. So, you know, from the looks of that, you'd think, wow, we got a really bad leak. But you can see the water is just coming from up there. And leads up front to where the hatch was leaking. And it just runs back and it just gets in the wood. And it stays there. And soaks in and does not want to come out. So, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But one thing at a time. I'm gonna gotta get this port light out here. Once that's out, then that'll free this up to come loose, and we gotta take this trim off here, and the vinyl's gotta come off farther forward. And let's see. Well, we already looked at that, so. So as we were doing before with the vinyl, when we were putting the blue tape all over it and marking up the tape, now we're drawing on the wood, and we're marking on the wood reference points, arrows, anything we can use to point us in the right direction when we're putting this back together on how these pieces lined up. And like I said before, some of them we're going to try and eliminate the multiple pieces part and make them into bigger pieces so that they won't have so much variability to them. So, but anyways, that's what we're trying to do here. So if you see all these little notes and numbers and arrows pointing all over the place, it's just for our own reference. All right, so what the plan is for today is I want to get this cut out. I got the dotted lines on here. That's kind of my pattern I'm going to follow. I want to get it cut out all the way down to right about here. So we're going to cut here, and then there's wood on the back side of here, but I'm going to scrape that wood out instead of cutting the fiberglass tabbing all the way out. I'm going to scrape some of that wood out so that there's clear fiberglass here. And then this will be a little bit smaller than this area here on each side. And what that'll allow me to do is get one edge in and then slide it in and then locate this into place. So it'll all make sense once we're in the process of putting it back together. And it's worked before on some of the other previous areas that I did it in. And so I'm expecting it'll work again. And if not, we'll adjust as necessary. But as you can see, this wood here is just, it's all rotted. And there's good couple layers of this that's been sitting there soaking up water. You can see the water staining right here. This side here looks like it's not too bad. There's a little bit of staining there, but anyways, once we get this out, we're gonna look at this. This it's still pretty solid. I don't know what it is, but anyways, we're gonna take a look at that and see what this is all about. If necessary, we'll pull this out and put a new one in. It's not that big a deal. It's just wood. So we'll get it. Anyways, next up is the cutter. So we're going to start cutting this out. All right, later. We're getting pretty good at using the multi-tool to do cutouts like this. And so we're going to go ahead and start cutting this section out now. And hopefully it won't be any big deal. And we'll get it cut out without any extra rework required or more cutting than we wanted to. So yeah, and then so we went ahead and got it cut out. Turned out pretty well, and we'll clean it up a little bit and get everything all nice and shaped for the new piece to go in. We'll have to peel away some of the plywood that's still adhered to the fiberglass tabbing bit. Yeah, you can see that piece is rotted on the upper side that we couldn't see, and so that just reconfirms that was a good reason to cut that out. And we'll put a new piece in. And here's the mess. So this stuff just went everywhere. Big mess. That means we did a good job. Well, first things first, we got to clean up the mess that we made yesterday. Look at that. Woo. That wood did not come out easy, I can tell you that. It put up a fight the whole time. The thing is some of the wood up here is rotted, like this here comes out and just,
You can pull it out in pieces. All right. But then on this side over here, it's not rotted, see? It's very good, but then right here, it starts to go back being rotted again. So what we had to do in this area here forward was remove all the plywood, because I'm making a new template, new piece of plywood to fit up in here like we were doing in the forward areas. So I had to clear all this out so that we have a lip to slide our new piece of plywood in. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and paint. We're going to paint all this, paint this, and hopefully that'll prevent any more moisture absorbing into the wood. And then we'll go ahead and paint the fiberglass up there, just like we did in this area here. I'm going to fill in more foam and put more insulation on the side here. And our hope is that that's going to stop condensation from running down into here and getting down into the core. There's a little bit of there's like a wood strip right here, and then there's core. So I did a test drill yesterday, and there's a wood strip that runs along here, and then behind that is the coring. But this isn't the deck up above. This is just a false section of structure here, and all it is for the overhead plywood to attach to, like it's going on right there. Now what's really the structure is right here, and so we have there's a gap that's in between here and here, and that's where the coring is. And then, like I said, there's that wood strip that runs along here, and I think the purpose of the wood strip was just probably to stop as a moisture barrier or whatever, to prevent water from getting into the core. But what had happened is, up forward we had a leak. Well, when we bought the boat, the leak was already there, but that leak had been going on for a long time, and water's just been working its way back here aft for a really long time. It's got past that wood that was, I guess, intended as a barrier. Anyways, it's got past that, it's got into the core. And so I've done a couple of test drills and was able to get moisture out. And but I'm not worried about it. We're gonna go ahead and just press on, and it's not part of the structure of the boat. So we're just gonna leave it as it is and carry on. I don't like it, but I'm not going to go through all the work to rip this out and reglass a new core section in just for attach points for the overhead panels. So it'll be fine. I might put some drain holes in here periodically just to try to help get the moisture out, but I haven't even decided on that yet. So anyways, moving on. That's where we're at. Okay, well, that's a little better. It's all cleaned up for now. But yeah, that was hours and hours of struggling yesterday to get all those sections of plywood out of there. I had to just fight it all the way. It's easier when it's rotted, for sure.
Okay, now it's time to play that game. Let's cut a hole in our boat. The bottom layer of fiberglass is very thick. It was not easy to cut through this.
Okay. So what I did is I noticed there was see, there's the wet spots around these holes here, right? And some of them I hooked the vacuum up to it, and I vacuumed and got some moisture out of there. And just for my own knowledge, I wanted to know, hang on a second. What I wanted to know was, see the tap test, everything sounds really good. This is not cord. This is cord right here, but what it is it's just a layer that was applied up against the bottom of the cap from the deck. And see, so what they have is they have a piece of wood going right here, then they have some core, honeycomb core right here, up there, then they glassed it in, right? And that jointed to the bottom of this, and then they use this to attach the those boards that the overhead liner attaches to. Anyway, sorry. My point I'm trying to make is I did a core check because I wanted to find out where the water was coming from, if this was a false core, or did this lead to the outside deck. And no, it does not. This is actually a second layer, and then there's this layer here. So I feel good about it now. I know the water was coming from up front where there was several leaks. The hatch was leaking and everything was just flowing down this way. And what's happening is it's getting behind the wood that's right here, getting into the core. It's having no way to get out. I'm not gonna sweat it. I was worried about it there for a second, but now that I know that it's not really the structure, I'm gonna go ahead and press on. I'll fill this in, and I'll put some epoxy in there, and cut some fiberglass layers out, put them in there, and ferret in, and then we'll just move on. So I'm not gonna worry about it too much, but I was a little concerned at first. I thought maybe I had a soggy upper deck, but it's not. We're good.
So we're going to cut a new overhead panel for the galley, and we're going to use the same process we've used in the past. Is we'll take the old one and we'll use it as a template. We'll trace the outline of it, and then we'll clamp it down, cut out a rough cut of it. All right, so we have the new one, and we have the old one. I used the old one as a template and took my measurements off of that, added a little bit of extra edge margin on these on both sides, and then we'll take it to the boat and do final fit. Make sure it fits up good, trim as needed, and then we'll epoxy coat all sides and edges, saturate it with epoxy really well so water won't damage it again, and then we'll fiberglass it into place. This is for the galley overhead area where we were wondering what was behind this. We went ahead and removed it and used it as a template to make a new one. We probably could have just treated the old one with penetrating epoxy and saturated it really well and then painted it after that, and it would have been fine, but went ahead and made a new one anyways because we want to go that extra mile wherever we can.
All right, let's go ahead and we're going to do a test fit of our new teak panel we made that replaced the ones that were up here, the one that was all rotted from the numerous window leaks and junk. So let's see how this new one fits up in here. Let's see here. Very interesting. Okay. For a second there, I was like, what? Because I made it. I made it an exact match. Whoa, that's kind of wild. We don't want to be doing that. Okay. Well, it looks like a good fit. Let's take a look at that. Sorry about the lighting. I don't have a real good lighting setup in here yet, but so you can see that looks really, really nice compared to the old one. Right? Sorry about the glare. Like I said, we're a little budget here, and the lighting, I don't have a very good lighting system, so anyways, but you can tell that's looking good. So, and it's a good fit. It's exactly the one, same as what came out of there. So it's got 3 coats of varnish on it, and we'll add a few more before we're done, and we'll seal the backside and all the edges to prevent moisture from creeping in over time. But anyways, it's a perfect fit. I used the old one that came off of here, and I used it as a template and followed the edges with the router, and it's the exact fit. So anyways, yeah, that's gonna be nice. I'll tell you, I'm already really happy with just how it looks. And so as I go to the right here, you can see here's the old one, another one that's gonna have to be replaced, and just, I mean, here's new, here's old. I'm very happy with that. That is really nice looking. That's going to be sharp all the way throughout the main salon of the boat and the galley. So our next task is going to be to go ahead and get this one removed. The port light's got to come out first. The lower trim's got to come off, which, and this one here, this piece of trim runs the full entire length of the main salon all the way up front up there. So yeah, that's going to be fun. I was really hoping it was going to have a split in it like the other one did, but it does not. So because I still have to strip that, sand it, and varnish it. So it looks like that's going to happen on the boat here, because I'm not taking it home. It's too long, so it'll just happen here. But yeah, I mean, this here thing of beauty, that's going to be awesome when the whole galley and the whole salon is repaneled with teak like that. Oh man, it's going to be nice for sure. So, but we're getting there. Very slow progress. Still got all this overhead area that we got to close in, and got to paint up in here, up in here. Gonna paint all that. Add some more insulation up in here. Got to fiberglass this panel in, and we got to check fit our panel that we just made. So if that panel that we just made today fits in here all in one piece, then I will. It's gonna be tough, but I'll try and glass it in all in one shot, and that's gonna test the limits of my ability, because that's gonna be a big glass job. Well, it's fiberglass, but I still got a little bit more plywood to remove here, and this stuff is just really painstaking to get out of here. But as you can see, I removed all the other stuff up front there. So, and then so this is not rotted right here, but if you look right here, this here, it's rotted. So it's crazy. Some places moisture decided to get, and other places it didn't. But everything we're putting in is all epoxy coated and going to be protected against moisture and condensation. And then I'm going to go ahead and continue insulating this outer wall here in hopes of eliminating lots of condensation. Just like up in there, that area was just soaking wet with condensation, and it wasn't even raining out or nothing. It was just a cold day, and it was warm inside the boat, and I poked my head up in there and saw all the moisture dripping. So it's crazy how much water gets inside here just from the air.
So we finished painting this area up in here, and the paint we're using is bilge coat paint. It's the white version of the bilge coat paint, and we like it because it's very durable, and it puts a very thick, heavy-duty layer on there, and it really doesn't come off very easy, so we're hoping that it's going to stand the test of time. But anyways, once this is all done, we'll use a 3M spray and adhere another layer of that high-density black foam, the 1/4-inch thick stuff. Works pretty good.
All right, we're going to see. We're going to see if this is a good fit or not. If it's going to be a thing of beauty or not. A thing of beauty. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, look at that. It's gonna work. This is my first try on this. It's looking good. Okay. Looks like it's gonna work. This is gonna be nice. All right, going. How far back? A little dirt in the eye there. Well, that's cool. I'm pretty happy about that. That's gonna fit. All right. So we're really very happy about that. That was cool. I'm I'm really happy about that. So we're gonna go ahead and figure out what it's gonna take to get this to fit up, where the alignment marks need to be and all that stuff. And then we're gonna get this ready to take it back out, bring it home, epoxy coat it, and we'll bring it back and install it. Very cool. Right on. Man, I'm really happy about that.
While we're painting the interior of the overhead area in the galley, we also painted the sidewall section here. And this is a section where we just made that new teak panel fit in there really well. And so once this paint sets up, we'll go ahead and spray the 3M adhesive spray on here as well, and then put on the 1/4 inch thick high density black foam insulation and insulate this section as well. So it'll be nice. We're gonna have lots of insulation anywhere we can put it where we think the condensation is gonna form. We're gonna put a little layer of insulation in there and it'll help. All right, check it out. This is first time fitting this in, and we just cut this morning and brought it here to the boat to do a test fit to see if I was going to be able to put it in all in one shot without having to cut it into pieces. And just at first look, it's looking very positive, so pretty happy with that. This is all one piece in here, and then yeah, replace that whole rotted piece that I chewed and clawed and cut out of here yesterday. It's spent several hours getting this out of here, and it looks like we're going to be able to put this in all in one piece. That's going to be nice, man. That's going to be, and once it's all glassed in here, it's going to be very solid too. So looking good. Wow, can't believe that. I had no idea that was gonna fit. Look at that. That's very cool. So I'm not sure exactly where my my alignment marks need to be. So I just put it in here, and so I'll have to put my alignment marks in place so I know where everything lines up at. But yeah, wow, that is very cool. So we're pretty happy how well this all came together. This turned out really good. Quite the good fit. Now we have it set in place, and we went ahead and put in the very forward section to close off that little middle gap there, and now you can see it with all the temporary pieces in place. Pretty good progress coming up here for an area that we had no idea on how we were going to fix it. Okay, so the next step is to put this back out, and we'll take it home, and then we're going to epoxy coat it to prevent it from absorbing any moisture, and then we'll glass it in here. Oh yeah, I couldn't have planned this better. Couldn't have planned it better. It's definitely a nice tight fit, but that's all right. That's what we wanted. So this is what we have, and I used the cutting that I took out of here, and I used that as a template, and then I added edge margin onto both sides. So you can see the line here. That shows how much is actually on the other side over here. So if you look right here, I don't have a whole lot of edge margin here, but that's okay, because that's up there in the corner there, and we can compensate with some epoxy right here, and then we're going to fiberglass it on the outside. So it's not going to go anywhere, but all this really serves as is a surface to close this up, and the vinyl is going to staple to it in the end. It's not a load-bearing structure of any type, and so we're just going to go ahead and close it up, and then be all good to go. So that's it. So we'll take this home, epoxy coat all the sides and the edges, and then we'll bring it back and glass it in later on next week, hopefully. So yeah, and then what we did is went ahead and painted this wood, because it was just bare wood, and so I painted that just to stop it from, you know,
soaking up moisture like crazy. And then I painted the inside of here as well. So what we'll do here is we're going to add some insulating foam on here just to help stop with the condensation, because I was in here a couple weeks ago and it was really cold and the heat was on in the boat. Was not raining out, hadn't been raining out in any long time, and there was just water dripping all over the place. So I was like, okay, I see we need to add some insulation up here, so that's what we're going to do with that. So yeah, next step's going to be to go ahead and fiberglass this in place right here, and then we'll get some more insulation, some more foam up there, spray some more foam insulation, and then I went ahead and added some insulation padding over here. So that seems to have done the trick. I've come back here and I've come back and checked on cold days where it wasn't raining outside and there was no moisture up in there anymore, so it has stopped the problem.
All right, well, it's time to start getting ready to bond in the next panel in the overhead section of the galley. And we like to use West Systems epoxy and their epoxy filler agent. And so this is what we're using, the 403, to make thicken epoxy. And it just helps fill in the voids and the gaps and the cracks and the edges where the loose fits are. And so far we've had really good success with it. So we're going to go ahead and keep doing what we're doing and bond in this next panel. We'll get some thicken epoxy in there first. And then once it's in place, we'll fiberglass tape it into place with cloth. See how we do it here. So today's summary, went ahead and removed the rotted wood that was in here. I'll make a new piece to set in here. It's going to have a little bit of a lip on it. There wasn't no lip on it before, but I'm going to put one on this time just to give the bottom piece something more to adhere to. And yeah, anyway, so that's good. We got this painted up in here in the overhead area. Got the wood painted. Cleaned out all the old wood that was in here. We're going to make a new piece that goes up in here. There was none before, but we're going to put one in there just to kind of make it a little bit stiffer. Went ahead, painted up in here, cleaned up in here. It's all ready for the panel to go in hopefully next week. And then just finished glassing in this panel here. And yeah, I'm telling you what, man, we got a lot done. So we're ready to go next time to put the new overhead panel in. I'll bring it home today and we'll epoxy coat it, and that should be it. So we're definitely making some good progress. So went ahead and painted this area here too, so just to have it prepared for when we are ready to put the new panel on. I think we're going to go ahead and put a small layer of insulation foam on the back side before the panel goes on. Just we're really going to try to combat condensation anywhere and everywhere that we can, so we can avoid wet spots. So that's the plan. And then yeah, we had a lot of progress, so pretty happy with where we turned out. I had a few things I wanted to get done, I did not, but all in all, good progress. So these holes here, I went ahead and opened them up with a big drill, and we're going to open them up even wider with a Dremel, and then we'll fill these with epoxy and prepare to mount the new port light. So, but we're not going to do that today. We'll do that next time probably. And we just got to keep moving, making progress. Next thing, one of the next things we're going to have to do is remove this, and that'll enable us to get this out, remove the port light, bring the port light home, rebuild it, make a new lens for it, put new seals in here, and clean and polish it up, ready for mounting. But we still got a long ways to go, but we've made a lot of progress too. So we have this overhead vinyl in this area here closed up, and it turned out pretty good. So we got more to go. Look at, that's where we're at. So, but once we get these overhead panels in, that's what's stopping us from putting the vinyl back up. So anyways, we've made good progress. It looks really bad, but to me, it looks good.
And I know where we're at on this, and we're making good progress, so it's cool. Anyways, we'll let this fiberglass set up and glass in the next one, the big overhead one. And that'll be a challenge, but we'll get it. All right.
Okay, so while we're letting the fiberglass and epoxy cure on this one, we'll get ready to start positioning the next large panel in place, and we'll get ready to start fiberglassing that one in, and hopefully it all goes well. It's going to be messy, but somebody's got to do it. Might as well be us.
All right, so the plan for today is going to be we're going to go ahead and close up this area right here. We want to put the overhead panel in, and that's right here. So we're going to go ahead and we'll slide that into place. I'm going to go ahead and lightly paint one coat of white paint on top of here. Let that set up for just a little while till it's at least tacky, and then we'll go ahead and slide it in place, and we'll slide it up in here, and then once it's in place, we'll epoxy it and put some epoxy up here in this area here, same as we did for this one and all the other ones up forward. We went to deal the same thing there. This is from last weekend. This spot here was open, so I went ahead and fiberglass that in so it's no longer an open spot. And here's where you can see where I filled the gap in with some epoxy. And anyways, it's nice. It's good. I mean, it's not structural. It's just for, you know, we just want to lock this area out so no moisture gets in or out. And then went ahead and painted the wood here just to help slow the moisture down from absorbing into the wood and causing it to rot. So we'll put a bunch of epoxy in this slot here, slide the piece into place, and then we'll put some epoxy in here underneath, let that smooth and fair that into place, and then we'll start fiberglass tabbing it in. So anyways, that's the plan for today. I want to get this area all closed in here, and that'll close us in all the way back to here, and this will be all closed in. So we're making good progress. I'm pretty happy with it. So it's getting there. It's definitely getting there. So it's all good. Anyways, all right. So here's where we're at. We have this. I mixed up some thickened epoxy and got it all up here under the lip, and faired it all in down there, and then the same thing on this side here, and it wasn't too bad. So I might go ahead and put a couple screws in here just to pull it into place. I think I will do that before I go ahead and fiberglass it in. I think I'll suck it down with a couple of screws, but that'll only take a few minutes, and then after that I'll mix up the fiberglass and we'll start glassing this thing in. And before we're done here today, this is going to be back as a permanent part of the boat again. So pretty good deal. It's come a long ways. Last time we were here, we fiberglassed this in, epoxied it into place, and took care of that. So that was good. And there was a gap here. That was the way it was manufactured. I went ahead and put some heavy cloth in there and glassed it in. It didn't need to be there, but for whatever reason I decided to fill this in, so I didn't like that void being there. Anyway, so that's where we're at. Okay, so we'll get going, and we'll mix up some epoxy here, but that's where we're at. Coming a long ways from where we were just a few weeks ago. Remember, all the vinyl was open and hanging down, the frame wasn't in, although the frame's just tacked in. But yeah, we're getting there. This has all been closed in, and we keep continuing to close things in, and filled this area with foam. And then what I did today also, you can see I went ahead and put some insulation on the side there, because that's where the condensation's been forming, is on those sidewalls. Anyways, that's where we're at. We'll keep on keeping on. We'll update here in a little bit once we get the glass in. Well, let's just do a real quick summary of where we're at. So yeah, we're making good progress. I always wish we could be farther than where we're at with it, but you know, never doing a lot of this stuff before. This is the first time, and it's kind of a learning experience. So have to sit there and plan it out, think it out, figure out what we're going to do and how we're going to go about it, and then execute on that. And that's what we've been doing. So, it's kind of cool. It's a project boat, but we wanted a project boat, and so we're really happy with, my wife and I were really happy with the projects that we're doing and the outcome on them. The quality work we're putting in there is we're trying really hard to do it right the first time, and so that's why we're figuring out what we need to do and how to go about doing it and make sure that it turns out right. And if not, then we cut it, remove it, whatever we got to do, and start over. So I think the biggest job we're on right now is the galley overhead area. Once we get those panels fiberglassed in place, then the next thing we'll do is we'll start closing up the vinyl, which looks like a disaster right now, and hopefully we can save it. So the galley overhead and the very aft bulkhead transom area is probably what we know at this date the biggest challenges we have. So who knows what surprises await us, but we figure there's something else coming. So but that's what happens when you have a project boat. There's things that show up that you don't expect. So we're good with it anyway. So just thought I'd kind of give a little update of where we're at. So anyways, okay, as of today, this would be the biggest section of glass I've ever done, so as far as I can remember. So what we'll do is we'll just start wetting out the surface here. We have to work fast because anybody that's worked with fiberglass knows that we're on a timer. We are on a timer, so. Trying to get it to lay down and let it start soaking up some resin. So by pre-wetting the surface, now it's already given the fiberglass kind of something to adhere to, and it's already helping to saturate, soak up the resin and stuff. So then we're trying to use the tip of the brush to help get the fiberglass settled down a little bit better, and at the same time we're going to use it to wet it out with a little bit more resin. And as the resin starts to age in its cure life, it gets, it doesn't want to wet out the glasses easily. It starts to thicken up, and it just doesn't want to do its thing anymore. So far we're doing good though. It's still wetting out nicely. wet the glass out. We want the fiberglass to get wetted out as best as we can and as thoroughly and evenly as we can, because that's going to give us the best structural hold and structural bond. And although we're just really just doing this to hold the wood in place, we're just trying to tab it in place here, but since we're at it, why not go for the best bond we can get, right? Yeah, it's gonna hold the wood in place, but if we can do it better, that's what we're gonna do. Seems like we're gonna need to mix up some more resin. Well, I'll go ahead and shut the camera off for now, and we'll catch up later and see how it turned out. So we went ahead and mixed up more resin, got it laid out, went ahead and saturated the rest of the fiberglass cloth, fiberglass tabbing, whatever you want to call it. But anyways, that's where we're at. So we went ahead and got that in today. That is a really big deal. So I'm happy with that. And man, I hope you guys see what's going on here. That whole galley overhead's going to be closing in here real soon. And yeah, that'll be good. We're going to be getting back to having vinyl, well, probably a couple weeks from now, but a little optimistic, I guess. But we got a lot of work to do back here still. So, but anyways, yeah, this is all, it's all tabbed in, and we're just letting it cure. Put a lot of epoxy filler on the sides here and ferreted it in, and then went ahead and put the glass in over the top of that. So just we're just trying to, you know, get a really good bond and get everything staying in place really well, so that if there ever is any water up above there, it's just not going to come running down on top of the galley. And we went ahead and epoxy coated all the plywood on these ceiling panels, so even these ones all up here are all epoxy coated. And so yeah, water's not gonna be able to touch those. Well, it'll touch them, but it's not gonna hurt them. So anyways, so that's where we're at right now. Pretty good thing. So one of the last things we did today was we went ahead and opened up all these mounting holes for the port light, and several of these are no longer used for the mounting of the port light that we have. But so we went ahead and filled all these in with thickened epoxy. We're gonna let these cure, and then when we come back on Friday or Saturday, we'll go ahead and if we're ready at the time, we'll relocate some of the holes for the current port light model that we're using. The rest of them we'll leave filled in. And yeah, that should help stop some leaks. Can't believe all the holes that are in here, and they never filled them. Crazy. Well, they had them filled, some of them filled with 5200, but they were still leaking. Anyway, so as you can see, I just beveled them open. I used a larger, like a double-sized drill bit, and then went ahead and just put my Dremel tool in there and just opened the hole and ferreted it out and made a tapered opening on it. So anyways, that's what we got. And yeah, so you can kind of see what's going on. But so once that's all ready to go, these the new port light will mount really nice, and then we won't have any problems with the screws stripping out or just spinning in the hole forever and not grabbing onto anything. Now they'll have a fresh surface to grab onto. So anyways, it's a good deal.
So I don't know if you've noticed up to this point or not, but we have made huge progress in the galley overhead structural repair project. Getting this last big piece, fiberglass, tabbed in was a huge win for us today. We're really excited to move forward. This is probably one of the biggest hurdles we had to overcome, and the rest of it, now we can start putting stuff back together once everything's final painted. And yeah, it'll start to look good here pretty soon. So if you've been following from the beginning, we're doing pretty good.
All right, so hope you enjoy this week's video showing you all the progress we have.
Yep.
We did.
Right. Yeah, we made really good progress. We still have a lot of work ahead of us, but we made really good progress. We hope you enjoyed what you saw, and hopefully somebody's learning from this as to how to tackle this type of a situation in your project, your boat, or whatever you're working on. But yeah, we're getting there. We are making some progress, and we're doing a lot of demolition as we go. So we're cutting out a lot of the old stuff and making room for the new stuff. So we'll just keep on making our way, inch or two at a time, but we'll slowly get through this galley overhead project, and eventually we'll be able to move on to some bigger, better things. So anyways, we hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe down below.
Bing.
Stay tuned.
Yep, stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and like she said, please like and subscribe. Give us some feedback. What do you think? And we appreciate all of our new subscribers who have recently joined us and are along for the journey. We say thank you to you, and we hope we hear from you soon. Thanks for watching. See ya.
Now there's a nice looking shell. I'd keep that one.
And what's that?
My idea. Oh, we got a boat coming. It's this guy. Nice. Dang. 5 engines on the back. That was sweet.